Let's get started.
Welcome back, everybody. Another amazing episode of the Expert Trader podcast series hosted by the FX Summit. We got an incredible guest today. Mr. Alex Santi is in the building. He's a trader,
Yes, sir.
investor, entrepreneur, and special guest at the FX Summit. Alex, what's up, brother?
What's up, my brother? We're finally here after many weeks of planning this.
For sure. A lot of back and forth. And if you guys were actually on the charity stream last week, everyone go check out that recording. Alex stopped by, dropped serious gems. Him and Andy were going back and forth. There's so much knowledge there about risk management. There's so much knowledge there about psychology. You guys are definitely going to want to go and check that out. But Alex, welcome to the show. We're gonna walk people through your backstory. We want to walk people through a little bit of like some of the lessons you've learned through your trading, how you were able to apply that to entrepreneurship, and a little bit more. So talk to us about your story. Who is Alex? Where are you from? Talk to us a little bit about your backstory.
Brother, I'm Cuban actually. So I was born in Cuba. I wasn't born in this country. I came to this country when I was 9 years old. I'm actually 28 right now. Okay. So about 20 years ago. Didn't know English at all. Just pure Spanish. And then from there I kind of grew up in this country in Miami, right? So my whole life I've been in Miami, and basically growing up in Miami, I learned English, obviously, and then I kind of forgot Spanish. So it's crazy. And little by little, I started to pick it up later in my teens, like around 17, 18. But for a good part of my teens, I actually forgot Spanish. It was crazy.
Damn.
It was insane. Yeah. And as far as I started working when I was like 16, 17. It's crazy. In my other podcast, that we do, I was talking about how I started entrepreneurship, which is selling dogs. I always tell people what was like that one thing that kind of started your entrepreneurship story? And mine was I went on Craigslist one day and I saw this dude selling German Shepherds for $300, and they were purebred. But it was so far down south that nobody knew about it. It was like in Homestead, which is like a good 30 miles from Miami, down south.
Right.
So I went and I got, and I'm like, wow, it's crazy. So I went to one of your pet shop and I'm like, yo, how much are you selling these dogs for? $1,200. I'm like, okay.
Damn.
So I went and I borrowed some money from my dad. I'm like, yo, let me borrow a couple $100. He's like, what are you gonna do? I'm like, don't worry about it. So I went and I picked up some German Shepherds and I started selling German Shepherds.
Did you come back with some dogs?
Yeah, I came back with some dogs.
Okay.
And I started selling German Shepherds in front of the pet store near the Publix right here.
You're crazy, bro.
And then the pet store came to me like, yo, how much are you selling the dogs for? And I'm like, 800. They're like, nah, we'll give you 500 for them. And I'm like, nah, you sell it for 12. I'll give it to you for 8. They're like, nah, we're not gonna buy it. Okay, cool. Bro, so many people were buying dogs from me. It was crazy that they were like literally in front of their pet shop that they're like, okay, fine, we'll buy them for you for 800. And then I started selling to pet shops and shit. And that's like when I was 16 years old. Then from there, I have many jobs.
Pet? Did you have a dog? Like, were you already familiar with that, or is this something out of the blue? Like you just found an opportunity.
I just found an opportunity. I was just like, fuck it. I'm gonna start selling dogs. That's what I'm gonna do now. I'm 16. I'm making $500 a dog because I bought it for 300 and I'm selling it for 800. Right. And then I started my first job, and then I started next to Target here in Miami. I was started selling juices. I was like a Jamba Juice. I don't know if you ever heard of it. There in Miami is very big. It was like something like that. It's called Rubik's juice. And from there, I would just jump from job to job. I lasted like 6 months. Then I went to Best Buy. I lasted there 6 months. Then I went to Sprint, like the cell phone company. I lasted there like a year. Then from there, I went to selling cars. From selling cars, I went to AT&T. From AT&T, I went to Verizon.
Okay.
From Verizon, I went to American Express, and American Express changed my life. Working there changed my life because
I really want to get into the American Express thing. I got a few things loaded up. Why were you jumping around from job to job? Was it like something about like working for someone? What was that, like an internal thing? What was that?
It's many things. I'll be honest. Some jobs I got fired from. Some jobs I quit myself. I always had a problem with somebody telling me what to do, and I always knew the corporate system didn't work for me, and so a lot of jobs we didn't just see eye to eye. And I would just let them fire me. I'm like, fuck that, fire me. That, and some jobs I would just quit because I'm like, yo, this is not going anywhere. Like, this is not making me grow. This is not making me a better person. This is not making me, it's not giving me skills, right? Because what I was looking for in jobs, honestly, was growth and skill. Like, show me how to make more money. But you're never gonna learn that on a 9 to 5. It's not, they're not gonna teach you that. They're gonna teach you how to show up, do your job, and go home.
Sure.
So that's basically why I jumped from job to job.
Yeah. And the reason I was asking that is because a lot of people watching this at home, maybe they're in that predicament right now. Like, they're kind of bouncing around, and they think that it's like, they think that it might be an issue at the time, because obviously nobody likes to be jumping around like that. But maybe it's just like that, having a higher standard for yourself is kind of what I heard from you. So maybe people can see that in them too.
You have to understand that some of us aren't meant to be 9 to 5 workers. Some of us are meant for something greater. So don't think that just because you're getting fired from job to job, or because you're quitting job to job and you're not satisfied, that you're not good enough. It might be the opposite effect. It means that you may be too good for where you're at, and you don't understand that.
For sure. So can anyone, so I guess this kind of goes to, can anyone be an entrepreneur? Do you feel like it's like only some people can do it, or can anybody learn to do it?
I think anybody can learn to do it. Being an entrepreneur doesn't take talent. I'm gonna tell you that. It just takes skill. So I think anybody can do it. I think a lot of people just don't want to put in the effort, and they like the comfort of the 9 to 5. They like the security that the job offers. And I can't lie. It's amazing, right? Because most of the jobs that I've had, like American Express, and then the next job that I had was Bank of America. That was my last job. You're talking about over 100K a year jobs. You're talking about Fortune 500 companies. But I like those last 2 jobs. They taught me a lot. I think those 2 jobs said that this is it for me. This is like my last job. Because once you're dealing with financials, you get to see people's financials, and you get to see what's possible. Because one thing is for me to tell you, hey, I'm making $1 million a month. And one thing is for me to show you, hey, I'm making $1 million a month. Once you see it, you're like, holy shit, this is real.
You're in this environment at American Express where you're getting exposed to a lot of credit card information from big players, right? Because can you walk them through what department they put you in?
I worked in this interior department, the black card department. Okay. That's
for those of you guys that don't know, that's the big boy money, right? That's that card that's a card that never declines. That's that level. So what did you learn from that experience? What did that exposure?
That's this card right
here. That's that card. Talk your shit. So what did that experience teach you? And what did you take away from being exposed to like that, people who are playing at that level?
Man, a lot. That job set who I am today. That job changed my life. My credit was fucked up. I fucked up my credit early. Because of that job, I learned how important credit was. I was able to fix my credit. I learned how to save money. I learned everything. Why? Talking to a bunch of millionaires every single day. My customer service, when I was in that job, it was a call center. It was A1. And people were like, man, I feel like, are you a millionaire? Like, I'm like, no. Because people will ask me on the phone, like, you know a lot about brands, you know a lot about this, you know a lot about that. I'm like, yeah. I mean, I aspired to one day be able to afford these things and things like that. And I was very well knowledgeable of these things. And my customer service was A1 just because, man, I wanted to learn from these people. I wanted to get to juice that call, right? Every time I would get on a phone call with them, my phone calls were like 20 minutes, 15 minutes. Remember, you can't be on the phone too long as a call center. So I would try in 15, 10 minutes, I would try to juice the most I can out of these people. Millionaires.
What are you asking? What does Alex ask on the phone to these millionaires to try to pick up some of this sauce?
Man, I mean, obviously the obvious answer is like, what do you do for a living? That's like the main answer. It's like, and some people, depending on their vibe, I will go deeper into their lives. I'll be like, if you can give somebody one advice, what would it be? If you can tell me, I even asked one guy, hey, if you had 100K to your name right now, what would you do? It just depends. Like, some people are cool. Some people are fucking assholes. You know what I'm saying? They just want to get on the phone call, pay their bill, and get the fuck out.
Get the fuck out.
And I understand. I understand. I couldn't be mad. But some people, so a lot of them were really cool. A lot of them.
That's awesome.
I had a guy one time call me that he was dying, unfortunately, and he had a shitload of money. He's like, "Yo, this shit don't mean nothing." He should have told me, "I have this, that," and look, I was in my hotel room. I fainted, and then now I just found out that I have like 6 months to live, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" And that shit, bro,
Damn.
gave me chills.
Was
Yeah,
that one of the most memorable things that happened to that job?
hell yeah. That
Yeah.
day, bro. That and my first phone call. My first phone call was the most memorable. I'll never forget. Some guy. So I'm new to the job, right? I'm taking my first real life phone call, and some guy calls me up and says, "Hey, um, I'm calling to see if my car will go through because I'm renting at the Ritz Carlton." And I'm like, "This guy's talking about? This guy has a black card, bro. Of course, it's just gonna go through. What the fuck is a Ritz Carlton? $1,000 a night? Big whoop."
Right.
And I'm like, and he's like, "Oh, but check, please check." Because you can do like an option that you can check the spending power on the card.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, fine, I'll check for you, bro. So I go into the account. I'm like, okay, man, how much is the thing? And I'm expecting this guy to tell me, oh, it's gonna be a couple dozen. He goes, it's gonna be like $750,000. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what?
What?
What? Yeah, I'm like, $750,000 for what? He's like, yeah, we're staying like a week in the Ritz. And I'm like, yeah, but that shit don't make any sense. Oh no, we're renting out the whole floor. I'm like, holy
Okay.
shit.
All right. I'm sitting here thinking, bro, what room at the Ritz is 750 grand?
Right?
Brother.
That's what I was
Okay.
thinking too.
All right. All
That's
right.
my that's my first phone call. So imagine that being your first phone call, and then I'm looking through this dude's bill, and it's like a couple $1 million a month. Every month, a couple $1 million, and I'm like, holy shit. And he tells me that he is the assistant to a prince in Abu Dhabi, and I'm like, oh, makes sense.
Okay. So he's out here big spending. Okay.
Yeah.
So that first experience, because what I honestly thought that you were gonna say when you're like, what did you learn at that place was really more about the money side, about what people were spending on. But I feel like that guy that was about to pass away that gave you that piece of insight. Do you feel like
Yeah.
that kind of shaped how you think about money after, or are you still kind of still chasing
Hell yeah,
the same
man.
way?
Hell yeah. I'm gonna tell you why. Bro. A lot of people they make money, they rather save it, not spend it. And there's nothing wrong with saving money. I think that's a good habit to have.
Mhm.
But make sure, and I was just talking to my boy yesterday about it because he's like, man, I saw you and Q's podcast, and I feel like I've been very humble with myself for the last year. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with being humble. Humble is not because you have nice things doesn't mean you're not humble. Humble is how you treat people and how you and the type of person that you are. That's humble. You know what I'm saying? Because you
Sure.
have a Ferrari doesn't mean you're not humble. Don't confuse yourself. And I told him, you gotta we men, I'll say men, I don't know if women are like this, but we're like dogs. Okay. So think about a dog, right? When they do nice things, they like to be rewarded, right? So imagine if you're training your dog, every time he does a nice things, you give him a treat, right?
Mhm.
He's gonna keep doing those nice things, right? With us as entrepreneurs, we are the dogs and we are the masters. We gotta reward ourselves for the work that we're doing so we can
Yo,
keep doing these nice things.
this man
You get
Alex is
me?
spitting right now. He said, "You're the
Yes.
dog and the master if you're an entrepreneur." No, that's true. That's
Yeah,
definitely true.
like so I reward myself every step
Brother.
of the way because every step of the way is a milestone and every step of the way is a reward to myself as a dog. And I'm giving me the treats and I'm like, it makes me want to do nicer things.
For sure.
It makes me wanna get more cars, more things. So you have to reward yourself. So that dude's phone call, yeah, what I got out of that job was more entrepreneurship mindset, not financials. Obviously, you see financials a lot, but
Mhm.
there was nothing there that I didn't know before. You
Right.
know, make more money, live below below your means and shit like that. That's normal shit. But the mindset of every single millionaire, bro, when you talk to a bunch of millionaires every day, you're something's gonna stick with you.
Okay. Is there any commonality that you could share that you took away from a lot of the successful entrepreneurs that you spoke to?
Um, everybody was a go-getter. Everybody was like, everybody have failures. Every single one of them told me a story about how they failed. And that's what I'm like, okay. So somebody asked me the other day what makes success, and I'm like, success is not by being successful. How you measure success is how many failures you had and still came up.
Okay.
So that's what I got out of all of them. They all had the same shit. They all had failures. Failures was normal to them.
So whoever can kind of bounce back from those failures, that's what kind of makes success.
That's what makes you a millionaire. That's what makes you a billionaire. That's what makes you some type of huge mentor. That's what makes you stand out. Trust me. That's gonna make you stand out.
All right, this is my ADHD kicking in. It's a complete side question. Are you on Twitter at all or no?
On Twitter, no, I'm not on Twitter at all.
Okay. Have you heard about the news of Elon trying to buy Twitter?
Hell yeah.
You mentioned billionaires, and my mind completely went there. Do you have any thoughts on Elon Musk buying Twitter?
Yes, I think I see where he's going with it. That I mean, it's great. It's great. He's trying to change the way Twitter is. He's trying to bring it back to what Twitter was, right? A private company that everybody kind of had free thoughts, and it's not manipulated by any type of government or entity, which I feel like it is right now. So okay. I think it's great. I think Elon Musk is so successful just because of not who he is as an entrepreneur. I don't think he's an entrepreneur at all. I think he's more of a genius. Like his how he was able to stand out is what got him the money. You get it, man. The guy's a genius. And I think that's what has gotten him to, so fast to the top. Because if you look at a couple of years ago, he was way below Jeff Bezos in the net worth. Mm-hmm. Now he's way above him. So it's because, again, the guy has been able to stand out, which goes back to what I just told you right now. You got to stand out.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate you entertaining that. Now, if we can go back to the Amex. So I also worked at Bank of America. Talk to me about that experience. What did you do there? How did you go from Amex to Bank of America?
I went from Amex to Bank of America just because of the schedule. I had so in American Express, I started my business. I started my trucking company, right? Once I started my trucking company, I bought 3 trucks off the rip. I saved up money in Amex and I bought 3 trucks off the rip. So then now I had a business on the side, but my Amex schedule was so fucked up. I used to work from 11 in the morning from 3 p.m. to 12 at night.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it was crazy. But I liked it for a little bit. But once I got a business, it was kind of hard too, because I would wake up really late in the morning because I got home so late and it wasn't working out for me. So I went to Bank of America. They offered me a private banking position. Mm-hmm. And which back then it was called something else. And then from there, my schedule was 9 to 5, right? Like regular 9 to 5, weekends off. Okay. And there I kind of continue almost the same thing from Amex, right? I was dealing with a lot of high-end clients. And you learn a lot from those people too as well. Now it's more personal experience because now they're face to face.
Right. And you're learning about banking products, what they have access to that normal banking clients don't have access to. So is there anything that you took away there that stuck with you?
With that, from Bank of America, what I learned a lot was how to sell, right? Like I'll tell you that they train you very well on selling products and things like that, and how to manage credit, right? How to use the products that they offer to the advantage of the consumer, as far as like, if somebody needs to reconcile credit cards, offer them a line of credit, things like that. And that's how I learned how to manage a lot of money. Bank of America. Yeah. American Express gave me the push, gave me the mindset, and then Bank of America sealed the deal by giving me how to manage the money. Right. It was like a combo deal. It was great.
That's amazing. So you're getting like the inspiration just from even talking to these individuals, the knowledge and the insight on how they live their life and how they spend their money, and then how they manage their money. So it's like the full picture of how finances work.
The full picture of a millionaire
This is for everybody listening, because this is still a trading podcast. I know we kind of got off the rails. So from everything that we talked, this is all before trading. And then trucking was really the main thing that you were building in the background before trading happened. So walk us through trucking, how that came about, ups and downs, and then how that transitioned into trading.
Man, I started my company with 3 trucks. Then when I started my company with 3 trucks, from there I tried to do an exotic rental car company, and with a partner of mine, and we had like 10 cars at a good point. And then I went through a bad period in my life where I was making a shitload of money. What I thought back then was a shitload of money, right? Remember, we're talking about I was 25, 24 years old doing this, 23 years old, So it was great for me. And I had 10 exotic cars. I had 3 trucks. I was like, oh shit, I'm good, man.
Hit, man. All right, so it's, everybody who visits South Beach at some point is like, as a tourist, I'm over here in Virginia. When we go visit, you're like, dude, having an exotic car company is like, that's a dream out there. Have them all over the city and whatnot. So How did you get into that game? How did you even get the capital for that? Was it through all the work that you had done? Was it just like you partnered with the right people?
It's very easy, honestly. Like remember I told you I had fixed my credit because of American Express. So they and I already had I've always liked cars all my life. I always had nice cars, so I always had a good credit on cars. And then I was able to take out 2 or 3 cars under my name. Then my partner took out 2 or 3 cars under his name, and then we added so forth. But it was very easy. Down payments were like fairly low. So we had the connects for that. But then that went to shit. Like cars were getting crashed. We had a car that got shot up with AK-47 bullets because the dude that rented the car had supposedly beef with somebody, and then they sprayed his house and the car was right in front of it. We had another car that I was literally watching the news. I was literally watching a car chase in the news, and it was my car.
Stop fucking around.
Yeah, I'm literally watching this shit and I'm like, yo, that looks like my car. Let me call the broker who rented the car. Yo, is that my car on the news? And he's like, let me check. Oh yeah, bro. I'm like,
but what does insurance look like in the exotic rental business? Like, do you even get a policy, bro? Is that even possible?
You could, but you have to be in business for so long. So we were doing it like on the side. It was like crazy shit. And then it was like we had insurance through like commercial insurance, and it was so expensive. So we did it on the side for a little bit. Then we got commercial insurance, and then it just didn't make it. Nothing made sense. Nothing made sense.
Right. So did you end up like selling the cars or what? For those of you guys listening to this on Spotify, he has a no risk, no Rari poster right behind him. When he says he's into cars, he means it. But yeah, so like, what did you do? You sold all the cars? How do you get rid of those?
Yeah, we sold all the cars. We traded them in. We took a loss on a lot of them, and then we parted ways.
Did you keep a few? Like, I'm gonna keep one of them for myself. Like,
I kept one. I kept an LC 500. That shit was, to this day, I think that's one of my favorite cars, man. That car is like, wow. Like, Lexus has done such a great job with that car. It's a V8, naturally aspirated. The sound that it makes, the way it drives. Like, I think I might get one. Like, I think I might get another one.
Okay, that's awesome. All right, so trucking. Are you still in trucking today?
Yes. Today we were a lot bigger than we were back then. But
all right.
Yeah. So back then when we, back to what we're saying is I lost everything. I lost my 3 trucks. Each truck, I went through a dark period. Like, I lost it all. I lost all my 10 cars. After that, my 3 trucks, freaking engine blew on 2 of them. It was like insane back to back. I almost lost my life in a crash. It was like a dark period. When shit happens to you that just when it rains it pours. Yeah, I crashed the LC 500 going 100 miles per hour against a tree. So
Jesus, bro.
Yeah, so I lost everything. So I started again from zero, from 1 truck, because I had 1 truck left that also got damaged, and I had to put like 11 grand into the repairs. And
were you hurt in that accident? Damn, bro.
I was like, my whole body. Luckily, I wasn't seriously hurt. Just my whole body was in such much pain, and like I had to get therapy and things like that. Like my bones, like to get everything back in place. It was like crazy, but I thankfully it didn't fracture anything or nothing.
Thank God, bro. Thank God.
Yeah, right. I lost it all. Yeah, I lost it all. I started back with 1 truck. Like I didn't even have money. Listen, I didn't have. So this is a crazy story I'm gonna tell you right now. I didn't even have money to put gas. After making so much money, I didn't even have enough money to put gas. I had to borrow money from my parents. I had to move back to my parents because I couldn't afford my rent. This is like a 24 years old. Yeah, about 24, 23 years old. And that's it. Like I lost it all. I started back with 1 truck, and I had the LC 500, right? And I had equity in it. So I had to sell my LC 500. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna sell my LC 500. I got 10 grand back. A check for 10 grand back. I sold it to CarMax.
Okay.
And so I had 10 grand to my name now, but no car. So from there, I'm like, one of my boys, he had a couple trucks, like that were owner operators. Owner operators means like they drive for you, but they're the owners of their truck, and you charge them a percentage to manage the trucks.
Yeah, so you get the contracts, you sign the deals with whoever needs the stuff moved, and these guys own the truck, and they'll just do the delivery, and you get a cut.
Exactly, just like that. And then so we're like, you know what? My friend was trying to get out of the business, and he only got 8 or 10, and he's like, yo, I'll sell you my whole office. like everything that's in it. Small office, nothing crazy. So everything is in it, and I'll sell you my 8 contracts and my 8 trucks for $10,000. And I'm like, yo, here's the $10,000. Yeah, I'm like, here's the $10,000. It wasn't profitable at the time though. It was like garbage. Yeah.
Okay.
And after I paid them the $10,000, they all left. So I was left with an office by myself. It was crazy. So I paid them the $10,000. They all left, and then from there, I started with 1 truck, which was mine, and then I started getting owner operators. So I got it like 1, 2, 3, and I was paying rent in the office, which is $2,000 a month. I still didn't have a place for myself yet. I'm 23 years old, and my parents are like, "Yo, you're crazy. You're paying $2,000 a month for an office, and you're the only one there. Like, you don't even have employees." And I'm like, "Look, it's about the representation, right? It's about where you want to be, and it's about like visualization. When people come in, I used to tell them that my employees were at lunch.
At lunch, right?
Yeah. They didn't know I was the dispatcher. They didn't know I was the boss. They didn't know I was the accountant. I was everything. And it's funny. I used to tell them like, oh, no, don't worry, everybody's at lunch. Yeah. I used to be the dispatcher. I used to do everything myself, right? Until I got to like 4, 5, 7 trucks. Then I hired one of my boys to dispatch. Then from 7, I went to like 13 to 14. And then I started hiring people.
That's amazing. So that just speaks to your character, bro. I feel like the more that I'm learning about you, the more I'm getting an insight on you as an entrepreneur and what's setting you apart. It's really just, you're great at finding opportunity, and you're great at like, I'm going to have to make this work no matter what.
Yeah. No matter what, you have to make it work. So from there, from there we grew. From there, I was put back in a good position where I got my life back together. I was able to now get a nicer car again. I was able to get my own place, all that stuff. And then, but it was a dark time, man. I started from zero to the point that I'm telling you, I was so much like I couldn't afford money and gas. And I think the only thing that kept me alive through those times was those jobs that I had and those conversations that I had with those millionaires that told me, hey, you're gonna have failures. Shit's gonna happen to you.
So what's going through your head daily? Like, somebody's listening to this and they're probably in that phase, right? Shit just completely crumbled on them. They're sitting there every day thinking, how am I going to get out of that situation? What sort of advice could you give them? Maybe they don't have the same experiences that you do talking to those individuals. Maybe you're that guy for them right now on this podcast.
Yeah.
So what sort of insight could you give to them to be like, bro, it's going to happen. You're going to pick yourself up.
Yeah. Give it time. Wake up every single day. Put in the work without seeing results. Okay. Do little by little every single day. Put in something that's going to help you in the future. So, I'm trying to generalize it as much as possible without attaining to my situation back then. But basically, every single day, do something that's going to put you in a better position in the future, even if you don't see immediate results. Okay. Sometimes, when we hit the gym, for example, we're not going to hit the gym and then come out the gym and be like, damn, I don't have a 6-pack yet. That's crazy. Like, fuck this, I'm gonna quit. No, you keep going every single day, right? Until one day you see results. Same thing with entrepreneurship. You have to go every single day, show up, make the work until then one day you'll see results.
Okay, there we go. Moving in the right direction. And I guess like that is the most important piece, because if you don't see results every day, that's when folks just want to stop, kind of give up on themselves. So that's awesome that you said that.
I feel like in trading, that's very common.
Let's jump into it. Now we're like 30 minutes in this convo. Let's talk about trading a little bit. So how did you transition from trucking? Things are finally picking up.
Yeah.
On the live stream, guys, that you guys should go check out, the charity stream, Alex said that he blew 180 grand learning how to trade.
Right.
Now, how does that happen?
All right. So yeah, basically I was well off already. Not well off, but I already was making money because I already had I already had a stable condition in my financials. And then from there, I'm like, okay, let's get into trading, right? I've always liked trading. I was a banker. I knew how to trade, but I never dabbled into trading. So whatever, I kind of like got into trading 4 years ago. I was trading stocks at first. Okay. Once I traded stocks, I got really good at trading stocks. I lost a couple thousand in the beginning, but nothing crazy. And then I got to a point that I was making about 20 grand a day trading stocks. Amazon, I'll only trade tech stocks, Amazon, Tesla, and Apple, things like that. Okay. Reason behind my mindset with that was that these companies ain't going anywhere. And if I go into drawdown and I have to hold it for a couple of days or even a couple of months, I'm okay with that. So I was so confident that I would make 20, 30K a day easily. Damn. Right? Yeah, it was banging it. I was banging it. Then 2 years after that, a friend of mine was like, hey bro, why don't you try Forex? And I'm like, Forex, like Okay, whatever. I'll try it. So then I tried it. My first day, I put 10K in the account and I made 10K. I'm like, oh shit, this is easy.
Do
I
you
blew
remember
the
what you were
20K.
trading?
I was trading US 30. I was
US.
trading US 30.
Okay. Okay.
I started trading US 30 because my friend back then, um, he only traded US 30 as well. And he's like, yeah, you should try this out. I'm like, all right, but he didn't know any better. He would, you know what he told me? Okay, picture my stock portfolio was like 200K. That was my money for me to day trade. And he's like, well, Forex, you don't need that much, bro. You don't need that much. You only got to put 10K to make the same thing that you made with 200K. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I would put 10K, blow 10K, and keep going, put another 10K and blow 10K, you know?
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Wrong mentorship, you
For
know?
sure. So
Yeah.
those are like the person who was giving you that advice was somebody who was basically saying you have a small account and you could flip the account. But what I've heard a lot from you is about risk management and about psychology.
Right.
So what did that process of losing all that money and learning how to trade teach you about psychology and about risk management?
So, I mean, my psychology was on point because the way I looked at it, um, the way I looked at it was I'm paying the market to teach me lessons. Okay. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't
Right.
have a mentor back then. Like nobody can sit down and say they mentor me or anything because I never had a mentor, right? And I wish I did. I wish I did, right? It's a good thing because maybe I wouldn't have lost 180K. Okay. So right now I'm losing 100. I'm literally by like 100K, and I'm like, holy shit, I lost 100K. Um, in mini accounts, 10, 20, 10, 20, right? And then I'm like, what the fuck? That's crazy. So then I put another 50K, and then I lost that too. And I'm like, okay, maybe I should go back to stocks because I don't think
Yeah.
Forex is working out for me. All
Right.
right. Then I went back to stocks and I'm like, damn, you know what? I just don't like it. I just feel like Forex is the route I want to go. So then I go back to Forex and I continue. I lost a little bit, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm already losing 180K at this point. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna fucking drop 100K in this bitch. I'm like, this is it. Like
Oh
that was
man.
my that was my last 100K, by the way. Like that's it. Like I had no more money.
That was
Like
from the trading. Was this from the you were pulling money from the stock portfolio to do
yeah,
this?
yeah, to
Oh
stock
man, oh
portfolio.
man.
That was my last
Oh,
100K. I'm like, okay, this is it. No, like not only stock portfolio, but that was my money overall, dude. Like I
damn, brother.
literally like in my stock portfolio, I had like 200K, and then like I had like another 80 in my bank account, and then I'm like, so I literally put I already had lost 100K, 180K, and then I had 100K to my name, and I'm like, fuck it, and like nobody knew nothing about this, and I'm like, fuck it, this is it. I'm either gonna fight or fly.
Alex,
Like
how did you go from this to making 500,000 in a day? How does that happen? Let's get into it. How do you go from
balls,
blowing all these accounts in 180 grand to then
yeah,
making almost 500,000 in a day trading?
balls,
Yeah.
balls.
Yo, you gotta have to give us more than that.
All right.
Let's go through the story.
From there, I put 100K, bro, and I remember I lost 8K in my first trade, and I'm like, okay, cool, I'm at 92K. Then my second trade, I made 16. I made double what I lost. I'm like, okay, hold on, I'm onto something here. Risk management. So I'm like, okay, let me start. So then I started practicing better risk management, and I turned that 120K to I remember to 200K. I withdrew 100K, so I started flat 100K again. I'm like, okay, fuck. Now my last 100K is back in my account again. Then from that 100K from trading, I took it again back to 200K, withdrew 100K, and then from there it was like, okay,
There
cool.
you
Now
go.
I got. My problem wasn't the strategy, because I had experience from stocks. My problem was risk management. I had a huge problem with risk management. I wanted to make money too fast, and then I had the wrong mentorship. I didn't have a mentorship. My friend thought that because you have a 1 to 500 leverage, that you can trade a 10K account, like if it's a 100 200K account.
Right.
So stupid mistakes, rookie mistakes.
Do
But
you feel like a trader has to lose a certain amount of money in order to respect risk management? Or do you feel like you can actually learn it from somebody else and get it from day one?
I'm gonna tell you the truth, and a lot of people are not gonna like this. Um, you do have to lose a lot of money. I'll tell you why. Because it's not a trading rule; it's a human rule. I can tell you right now, if you cross the street, you're gonna get hit by a car, and a lot of you guys will still cross the fucking street. And I tell that to a lot of my students. risk management, risk management, risk management. Do they still do it? Nope. Some people don't do it. So if you get across this car, you get hit by the car, then you're like, oh fuck, I should have listened. I got hit by the car. A lot of you people need to get hit by a car. Like I will put it to you that way. That's what happened to me. I got hit by a fucking truck. Right. So when you lose that much money, you got no choice but to get your shit together, you know.
But okay, so you had seen success in the beginning, and so even though you had all these losses, you still kind of had a belief that this could work. You'd already been successful in stock, so you know that this could work. You just had to kind of figure things out. What were some, like, besides just risk management as a general sense, what were some things that you learned psychologically that helped you get to, like, you know, a more consistent trading result?
Don't hold the trade. Don't hold the trade. Don't try to be a hero, right? Don't try to save the trade. That's one thing that I'm gonna tell you. Don't try to be a hero. I know a lot of people want to be heroes and they remove their stop losses to see if maybe they can save the trade. Just stick to a stop loss. For example, today my stop losses on US 30 is 50 points. That's all I risk. 50 points out of one standard lot. That's $5,000. That means I'm risking $5,000. I have a risk of 3 bad trades a day. That means that on a bad day I lose $15,000. But if you look at it the opposite way, on a good day, I can make $30,000, right? Because it's double the risk. So to this day, I noticed that a lot of my big losing trades, they were because I removed the stop loss and I tried to be a hero, and it didn't go my way.
We got a little peek of this on the charity stream, but how would you describe yourself as a trader? Are you a scalper, intraday trader, swing trader? Obviously, you said don't hold the trade, so maybe not a swing trader.
Intraday. Definitely not a swing trader. I'm definitely intraday. That's how I did stocks. I was intraday. I was in it for a couple candles. That's it. Maybe 3 15-minute candles. That's about it.
Oh, that's awesome. So that's a little bit more like on the scalping side, would you say?
No, scalping I think is like 1 to 2 minutes, like going in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. That's scalping for me.
Oh man. Okay.
Yeah. I've done that, but it's just not very good.
So if a trader is listening to this, he's a young trader or somebody, like, it doesn't matter what age they are, but they're early in their journey. What advice could you give them in terms of leveling up in their game? So let's say they're trading with a little bit of capital. They're getting the hang of it, but they're scared to level up because they don't know how they're going to handle big money. Is there any advice that you would give on leveling up?
Just look at it like percentages. Just look at every trade like a percentage. You know, I told my boy the other day that I just taught him how to trade. He started with 10K. He's already at 13, and he's like, "Damn, man, I just don't see the growth." And I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about? You're up 30% in your account in a week."
Right.
And he's like, and I'm like, "Yeah, if you had 100K in there, you'll be 30 grand up." And he's like, "Oh shit, I never looked at it that way." So you want to look at everything, you know, like percentage wise. You gotta look at everything percentage wise. Yeah.
All right. Now there's a 2 topics I want to talk to you about. One of them is sleep. This is something I heard you say on a podcast.
Yeah.
What is your take on sleep?
I hate fucking sleeping. Don't get me wrong. I love it once I'm asleep, but once I get up, I need to get out of bed as fast as possible. And I love to get into bed as late as possible. Just because I feel like there's so much to do. And it goes back to what I said. You want to do something every single day that's going to put you better in a better position in the future. And I feel like if I'm not awake and I'm not productive, like I hate being, even in the weekends. I love doing things like this, right? Like I love being a podcast. I love doing this. I love doing that, just because it's productive, right? So I hate weekends right now. At a stage at least that I am in my life, I hate weekends and I hate sleep, just because I feel like I could do, you know, a lot better.
Okay. No, I resonate with that too. My bad.
You know what I'm saying? No. Sorry, I was talking to somebody. So it's not that I'm young relatively. It's not that I don't like to party, right? There's nothing wrong with that, and nothing wrong with spending time with your family. It's just that for me right now, I feel like the weekends kind of stop everything, and then it's like time is passing by. It's like a trauma, man. It's like my girl tells me, like, you're just like traumatic or something. Like she's like, how do you hate weekends and sleep? I love weekends and sleep. I'm like, yeah, but you don't.
There's so much to do, and like and everything, especially as like you're an entrepreneur. So I'm guessing like the weekends is where like No one's calling you back. The emails have stopped. Like the post offices is closed. The credit card process, everything. So
everything.
I feel that.
I hate that. I hate that.
And the markets are closed.
And the markets are closed. Exactly. I love I love the productiveness of the week. But hey, sometimes, man, you do need to ease off. You know, I take my little mini vacations, 3-4 days. I can't take long vacations. I can't take 1 week, 2 weeks vacations. I cannot do that. 3-4 days, and I'm itching to get back on my computer and doing something. You know.
Oh, for sure. I feel that, bro. That's a lot of people, they think that it's a problem, like to really love your work and to be obsessed with the work. I personally just don't agree with that, right? I think if that's what gives you meaning, right? If being involved in your work is really what gives you a sense of purpose, dive in, obsess, get crazy with it. Let's wrap this thing up. Alex, I really appreciate your time, and you're a busy guy. Talk to the traders at home. Tell them anything that you would like them to do after this podcast, an actionable step to actually get better at what they're doing.
Show up at the summit. Show up at the summit. Show up at the summit. But for real, show up at the summit. Get familiar. Get around people. You know, one thing as an entrepreneur I can give you, because I feel like us as traders, like we are actually entrepreneurs. Right. I think we're more than traders. And for everybody out there who thinks that you're a trader, you're more than a trader. You're an entrepreneur, because you're going into something. An entrepreneur is somebody who blindly goes into something with faith that they can make money, right? That's what trading is. And you're an entrepreneur, and a lot of you guys have what you know, you have it in you. Maybe you just need to be around people that make you believe that it is possible. I didn't have that capability in the beginning, unfortunately, and I wish that, you know, you were around, and like, you know, all these people were around when I first started, to be like, yo, show me all these traders that are up there, and have an FX summit where I can go in person and like meet all of them and be like, oh my God, like these people are real, like they actually do what they say they do, right? So
for sure.
So get around people.
Those of you guys at home, FX Summit 2022 is going to be May 13th through the 15th in Miami. If you guys want to meet Alex, you guys want to meet myself and some of the biggest traders in the game, you guys definitely want to be there. That's the same thing that I had, Alex, is when I went and spoke with, like, let's say somebody like a Q, and I saw the lifestyle that folks are living. That's what got me to realize that there was different levels of this game. Yep. I think that inspiration is something that goes over a lot of people's heads, and that's what they're going to get from the summit. So I'm excited to have you there, for sure.
Yeah, I think, like, bro, like what Q has been able to do, it's unremarkable in the trading world. Q, Anthony, all these guys that are up there. Q is definitely one of my inspirations as far as US study. And I told him the other day, I'm like, yeah, bro, when I started trading US study, your results is what I was looking for to get one day. And when I actually achieved it, I was like, wow, like this is probably how he feels. So shout out Q, you know. So he's definitely the GOAT on this shit. So for sure.
That's awesome. Alex, millionaire trader, entrepreneur, and just overall great guy, amazing speaker and podcast host. If you guys want to go check out, what's the name of your podcast?
Profit Podcast. Yeah, man. We're definitely trying to get. The Profit Podcast is basically about entrepreneurship. It's not a trading podcast like this one. We're trying to get different entrepreneurs from different fields to come on there and just give you an insight, man. We've had Q this last podcast. Before that, we had Lena, where she makes like millions doing she's the owner of Lash Makers. Crazy, bro. Almost doing lashes. And we've had a lot of people on there. It's crazy.
That's awesome. So you guys go check out the podcast. If you guys want to connect, it's Mr. Alex Santi on Instagram. No other accounts. That's his official account.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you for your time, brother. Appreciate you, and I can't wait to see you in Miami.
Thank you, my brother. Appreciate you.
No doubt.